亲爱的朋友们，欢迎你们来参加我的婚礼，分享和见证我人生中最重要的时刻。我知道我的婚讯过于突然，很多爱我的朋友都非常的惊讶。今天借着这个机会，我向大家分享我的见证。我在2015年就离婚了，第一段婚姻开始得很草率，结束的也很突然。我一度对于婚姻是没有信心的，婚姻中的孤独和伤害远比单身的状态更加深刻。在经历离婚、父母先后离世、辞职创业、带孩子北漂等系列重大人生变故的时候，我靠着神的爱和教会弟兄姐妹们的帮助，度过人生低谷。我抓住我的事业这块浮板，期待用事业成功重新证明我的价值。但不久，这块浮板也被抽走了。新冠疫情期间，公司运营难以为继，我和女儿来到美国，失去了积蓄，失去了朋友和资源的支持，在陌生的国度，一切从零开始。在软弱中，圣经中路德的故事打动了我。我渴望有一天，我也可以在异国他乡遇到像波阿斯一样的男人，敬畏神，善良、宽厚、果断，用他的衣襟遮盖我和我的孩子。我在一个基督徒婚恋网站上登记了信息，希望寻找一位爱主的弟兄，建立家庭，服侍教会。但我并不受欢迎，没有太多的人回应我。在我生命的废墟中，神带我进入他的同在，以耶稣为根基重建了我的生命。我安静下来读圣经、祷告，参与教会服侍，不断认识神。我学会开车、做饭、做家务，尝试很多的工作。我也重新认识了自己。耶利米书31章3到4节说：“我以永远的爱爱你，因此我以慈爱吸引你。我要再建立你，你就被建立，你必再以击鼓为美，与欢乐的人一同跳舞而出。”马太福音6章33节说：“你们要先求他的国和他的义，这些东西都要加给你们了。”神的应许是那么的真实，成为我生命的亮光和依靠。他抽走我生命中的浮板，让我不再依靠那些有限的、短暂的事物，而是带我认识他，依靠他，进入他的永恒和慈爱。神带领我经历各样的难处，却总是托入我，给我和女儿够用的恩典，为我预备了很好的教会，也让我遇到很多爱我的朋友，在异国他乡有了属灵的家。我一直祷告，求神带领我和女儿在美国的道路。我想找到神在我生命中的使命，为此我有过很多的尝试。当我经历了一些服事中的难处，开放家庭服事教会家庭小组的时候，我意识到神对我的呼召是装备自己，服事教会，帮助和祝福身边的人。确定我的人生目标后，我对于另一半的需求就更加清晰了。我祷告说：“主啊，愿我的婚姻成为荣耀你名的器皿，愿你亲自拣选我生命的另一半，使我们在基督里同心合一地服侍你，建造家庭，成为见证。求主医治我过去情感中的伤痛和羞耻，我生命的满足不在婚姻，而在你里面。”这一次神开始动工了，他借着一些人和事，让我看到我真实的内心，通过讨好索取爱，通过控制证明爱，通过社会认可、金钱、成功、外貌来证明自己的价值。这些都源自内心的恐惧和骄傲。神的话就像手术刀，在我的内心做医治和更新的工作。我知道我的价值不再需要被证明，在神永恒的爱里，我是他重价买赎出来的宝贵宝贝的女儿， 他对我有最美好的计划。我不再对婚姻的结果患得患失，也不再因为失败自我怀疑，不再因为自己不受欢迎而失去信心。就像希伯来书6章19节所说，我们有这指望，如同灵魂的锚，又坚固又牢靠，且通入幔内。在这个过程中，我非常感谢 joyous 陪伴我一起祷告，帮助我分辨哪些是从神来的声音。求神赐给我像耶稣爱教会那样美好的婚姻关系。我的朋友 Shireen 分享她朋友的爱情故事，激励我，让我不要惧怕放弃，要听从神的带领。上帝的预备是完美的、清晰的。于是我向神祷告说，主啊，求你让我耐心等候，等候你亲自带来一位弟兄。他第一次看见我，就知道我是上帝为他预备的女人。就像以撒见到利百加，波阿斯见到路德，他会清晰表达他的感受，主动领导和推动我们的关系，我们彼此遮盖，共同成长。在我的婚恋网站会员账号即将到期之前，神带来了 Osamo。 他9月2号注册登录就看到了我。9月6号我们第一次见面。他说， Sarah， 你是神为我预备的女人，一个信心中的女人。那一刻我吓得差点落荒而逃。我忘了我的祷告，原来祷告被如此真实成就的时候，感觉是如此的疯狂。Osamo 是曾经军队的牧师，心理咨询博士， YouTube 家庭牧人频道的圣经老师。他积极主动推动我们的关系，就像雅各书里所说，我的良人穿山越岭而来。路德记拿俄米所说，波阿斯若不办成这事，必不休息。他主动来我的教会，几乎每天不知疲倦，驱车往返于圣地亚哥和 Temecula 之间，主动融入我的生活，分担我的重担，照顾我的孩子，参与我的服事。他的感情炙热而笃定。我们有很多共同的话题，关于婚姻的伤害，神的恩典，关于服事，关于心理咨询。神真的太奇妙了，他完全按照我的祷告预备了我的良人，超出我的所求所想。Osamo 告诉我，他在孤独中，上帝给他很多的话语，见到我谜底才一个一个解开。神曾经告诉他，我在烈火中预备了你的新娘，你的新娘在烈火的试炼中熬炼信心，但我也像保护但以理和他的朋友那样保护着他。神也在他不认识我的时候，就让他在祷告中提到了我的名字。他是一个单纯温柔的人，内心柔软善良，带着受过伤的谨慎，甚至与这个世界有点格格不入。他总是为神的恩典慈爱而感动落泪，感恩我们在人生的旷野中顺服跟随神，没有错过彼此。感谢神在我们生命中的医治、恢复和更新，给我们重新开始的机会。虽然我们不再年轻，但是我们都是第一次感受在主里的爱情，不从肉体而来，不从世界而来，而是带着圣灵更新的力量，带着神的永恒，从灵魂深处而来。每一天，我们都因为神的奇异恩典而感动，惊叹不已。我生平第一次感受到如此被欣赏、爱慕和尊重，完全不用担心我不会谈恋爱，也不用隐藏我的缺点，只要做自己就好。我也生平第一次感受到，从神来的爱是那么的笃定和热烈，没有任何的犹豫和怀疑。从认识到现在2个月的时间，我们就迎来了婚礼，看起来非常的仓促，但是在神的时间里，我们彼此预备而等候了很长的时间。 我们没有消灭圣灵的感动，而是再一次顺服了神的带领。朋友问我，那么短的时间，你怎么可以做到相信他？我说，我相信神。这些年以来，神把我藏在他的话语中，一直带领我和保护我。就像以赛亚书30章20到21节所说，主虽然以艰难给你担饼，以困苦给你担水，你的教师却不再隐藏。你眼必看见你的教师，你或向左或向右，你必听见后面有声音说，这是正道，要行在其间。我所有的选择都听从神的带领。哥罗西书3章15节说，又要叫基督的平安在你们心里做主。我内心的平安就是神给我的印证。我知道我和奥萨默都不完美，来自不同的文化和生活背景，在婚姻的旅程中，我们一定会面对很多的挑战和磨合，但我们有同一位神，有共同的信仰和目标。爱能遮掩一切的过犯，恩典能成全一切的不完美。我们愿意彼此遮盖，彼此扶持，在主的恩典中一同成长，让我们的婚姻成为神信实与爱的见证，也成为他人生命的祝福。谢谢你们的祷告与陪伴，愿一切荣耀都归给神。感谢赞美主。
So glad that you have attended and have decided to be here with us on our joyous celebration of marriage. Today, I want to share with you a testimony of Anselmo and Sarah. John 10:27 says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." God has become so real to me the past 13 years of aloneness, feeling like I was on the backside of the desert tending to God's flock. I served in the military as a chaplain, what we would know as a pastor, leading, guiding, praying, fighting in the spirit for souls of servicemen and women. It was there that God's voice and presence became so real to me. He is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother, Proverbs 18:24. I stayed faithful to God and his call was, go to my people, reach my people. I did not understand the sacrifice it would cost, leaving and clinging to God. I remember God's words, "What is that to you? Follow thou me." In June 2025, I had an encounter with God in the kitchen of my apartment, just like Isaiah chapter 6, when the glory of the Lord filled the temple. And Isaiah had that encounter with the Lord, and his presence was so strong that I fell to my face prostrate before him. And I heard a still small voice tell me that she is close and will blow your mind in so many ways. I held that in my heart, and I wrote it down and held it closely to me, because it was faith and encouragement that God was giving to me for the journey I was on. I remember asking God, "What do you mean she is close? What do you mean? Is she living close by? Is she living in these apartments?" And I received no response. It was silence. But later, I would come to the understanding that God meant that she was close in time. I remember praying one morning upon arising, sitting up in my bed and praying, "Where is she, God? You said it is not good that man should be alone." I knew God had heard my voice and my cry, but still there was silence. God is a God of faith. On August 15th, God spoke to me and said he was going to bless my heart. And what I needed to hear in that time, right, God's encouragement to me to keep holding on, keep believing me, keep pushing forward in faith. That he has done immeasurably with Sarah. He has blessed my heart. She is a woman of faith, power, and healing with God. God spoke to me in a strong word, letting me know Sarah was the one several times. That she belonged to me. That she was the one he had prepared for me. There was no doubt in my mind that Sarah was the one God provided for me when we went on our first date. And the Bible says the righteous are bold as a lion. And I was so in faith that I told Sarah this on our first date, which can be shocking. But, I'd like to tell you that God is never late and never sorry. His way is perfect. On August 31st was my birthday of this past year. And spending that day with my dog, alone with my dog Storm, was kind of depressing. That evening, the evening before, God encouraged me to teach his word. I don't know if you recall, but August 31st was a Sunday. That Saturday evening, God had encouraged me to teach his word. You see, I had stopped teaching for about a month or so, a month and a half, on Family Shepherd podcast. And it just felt a nudge, a tap, a nudge from the Lord to asking me, what am I doing in this cave? What am I doing hiding that I need to step forward and not be afraid? And I did just that, in obedience to God. And that morning, the Spirit of the Lord began to move as I taught the word of the Lord. And towards the end of the teaching, there was a prophecy that came forward, a prophecy in the Spirit to Sarah. And at that time, I didn't know a Sarah. I didn't know a Sarah, and I wondered in my heart. And I remember sitting there after teaching, there at my desk, thinking in my mind, will I meet this Sarah? I wonder if she will leave a comment on YouTube and let me know that she's heard this. And it was 2 days later that I came in contact with Sarah. And we began to dialogue and talk and pray and encourage one another and read the Bible together. And it was an amazing thing to be able to do that and connect with Sarah and encourage one another. I met her physically on September 6th. We went out on our first date, and I knew there was something different about her. I remember sitting there in my kitchen, answering her message, crying in tears, saying, God, you've blessed me. You've blessed my heart. We have so many things in common. Our journey with God out of Egypt by the miraculous hand of God, through the wilderness, being nomads and wanderers from place to place. Her journey in China, my journeys through the military, 13 duty assignments in 24 years, moving nomads, wanderers in the wilderness, not really having a place to call home. It was the hand, purpose, and will of God that brought us together. By his strong hand and might, he has won for us the victory. Mid-October 2025, God began to speak to me expressively about Sarah. And one of the things he told me was, she is your bride. I prepared her in the fire for you. I shared this with Sarah, and she testified to God's goodness and rejoiced. she pondered about that word fire, and she asked me, what does that mean? The fire is a purifying agent. In the Old Testament days, fire was used to form pottery, to forge weapons and silver and gold, and the impurities would rise up from that forging, from that fire. And so fire was something that God used to prepare Sarah. And she rejoiced and was so glad and encouraged by the word of the Lord. On October 2nd, I remember asking God, when can I marry Sarah? I was bold, folks. I was bold. And his response was, soon. I will wrap it as a bow. And timing, right? I think God speaks a word, and we don't understand the timing. What does soon mean with God? Suddenly, right? We see that word in the book of Acts. We see that God did things suddenly. Suddenly, the children of Israel left out of Egypt by the hand of God after eating the Passover. And so we have to understand that when God speaks about it being soon, it's soon. And so wrapping it up in a bow, what does that mean? Well, it's an expression meaning that something is complete, perfect, or fully resolved, much like a gift that is beautifully finished with a ribbon and bow ready to be given. It conveys a sense of satisfaction, finality, and a pleasing conclusion to a task, event, or story. God has truly wrapped it up like a bow for us. And we stand here amazed at God's miraculous power and grace upon grace. The Lord has done just what he said. On Monday, October 13th, I proposed to Sarah, surrounded by family. It was a joyous occasion for me and Sarah. And I was so happy that Sarah said yes to being my wife. God has truly blessed me now and forever, and I am eternally grateful to God for his blessing. Thank you once again for attending our wedding and being here with us and celebrating in this occasion. We hope that you are blessed by our testimony and it encourages your heart to trust God and keep walking in faith and believe him at his word.